All right. Hi, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Michelle from Medela, and I have Sarah here with me.
Hello, hello.
We're super excited to talk to you guys today about our newest innovation, Pump and Style with Max Flow, which I have right here.
Me
Um,
too.
if you guys are in the chat, tell us where you're from. Tell us what baby this might be, one, two, three, or four. We have so many second, third, fourth time moms out there. And if you've had a Medela pump before, or any of our other products, we want to hear about it. And then make sure you're asking questions too. So just to kick it off, we launched Pump and Style with Max Flow last July. So it's been out in market for about 8 months now. I can't believe we're already middle of
Yeah,
March.
I know.
Um,
It's crazy.
I know the year's going by so fast, but many of you may remember Pump and Style looking like this. This has been the Pump and Style Advance has been out in the market for 25 years. And look at having Sarah show it to you side by side, you can see that we've totally redesigned it inside and out. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. There is a lot of technology packed into 1.18 pounds. See how small it is? Um, Fits nicely in the palm of your hand. But behind everything we do is research. And we did a lot of research before we launched this pump. And it all starts with mom and understanding your needs. And when we started to talk to you guys about what you guys wanted in a pump, what we heard was you wanted more milk, which makes sense, right?
Duh.
You wanted something that was comfortable because breastfeeding and pumping should not be uncomfortable. And you wanted something that was easy to use, had less parts. And so we took all of that, and that's how we came up with Pump and Style with Max Flow. So it was focused about on performance, comfort, ease of use, and reassurance. And so Sarah's going to talk to you about some of the technology behind the pump because she's our R&D guru, I say. And she's going to first start off by talking about what's Max Flow technology.
Yeah, so thank you, Michelle. And hello, all you mamas out there. I see you
Mhm,
saying first baby, super exciting. Second
mhm,
baby, even more exciting. So I am happy to be here today. And Michelle mentioned all of our design pillars or the pillars of the project. I like to call them design goals. And
mhm,
probably the most important one is performance. You guys, this pump is a rock star. So if we focus just on performance, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on what really drove the innovation of this new product. So when we say max flow technology, pump and style with max flow, what we're referring to are these little micro vibrations that the pump, the motor, the guts of this guy are actually applying to the breast as vacuum is being pulled. And where this idea really kind of came from was actually outside of the breast pumping or the breastfeeding world. It actually came from us looking more into the NICU, but specifically at babies that had underdeveloped lung function. And the reason why we were focusing there is the human lung has a very similar internal structure, the alveoli structure, to that of a human breast, which is pretty cool all in its own, right?
mhm,
That's really neat. But why we started looking there is babies that are born with underdeveloped lung function can be treated using these ventilators that actually apply this oscillatory vibration. And what makes that so cool is it actually allows the lung structure to open up so airflow can move back and forth more easily. So the thought was, because the structures are so similar between lung and breast, could we take that same kind of vibration technology and apply it in a breast pump to more easily get milk to flow out of the breast? And the answer is yes,
mhm.
you absolutely can. And that's what you get with this brand new pump with Max Flow technology. It is so exciting. We spent a very long time studying this vibration technology with our partners at the University of Western Australia. And what we found from actually testing with real moms is milk output is higher than they've ever seen before. Bonus, that's awesome, right? And even more important, improved comfort. So they're describing it as more of like a massage feel versus like a tugging feel. And when you improve milk output and you improve the comfort, you ultimately reduce the pumping time because your
Mhm.
session is more effective. So you get all of that within this tiny little package, which is just, I'm so excited about it. I love this pump so much.
So more milk and less time, which is always helpful, especially
Hmm.
for some of you that this is your first baby. Time is going to be very important to you.
Yeah.
So the max flow technology is one piece. What about our two-phase expression technology?
Yeah, so we took this new max flow technology and combined it with our tried and true two-phase expression technology. So for all of you new moms out there, you may not be familiar with what that is. So all of the Medela products today have this two-phase expression technology. And what that is when you turn the pump on, it actually starts in what we call the stimulation phase, which is a quicker, lower vacuum cycle. And what that's doing is it's actually stimulating your breast to release milk. That may be a surprise to some of you, actually, that milk just doesn't automatically flow. I know that was a surprise for
It's a
me when I
surprise
first
to me.
started pumping, right? It's kind of not what you think, but your breast actually has to be stimulated first. And then once the milk starts flowing, it moves into expression phase, which is a higher suction but a slower cycle. So that's actually when the pump is drawing milk out of the breast. And why that technology is so neat, or why it's so cool and effective, is again working with our partners at University of Western Australia, actually studying the natural nursing behavior of babies, understanding how they're suckling at the breast, the vacuum they're applying at the breast, and then putting that into a pump. So this is as close as you can get to an actual nursing rhythm of a baby.
So it all goes back to the research and the time that we put into making sure that we are giving you guys one the best experience, but the best product and quality as well, because we know how important meeting your breastfeeding goals are, but giving your baby breast milk. So technology is a big piece of that.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So we talked about performance. Let's talk about ease of use since you have the pump up and the interface is very different besides
Yeah.
just the whole shape
I'll
to
move
where
this
we were.
closer so you can see. So, ease of use, another one of our design goals for this product. Michelle mentioned simplicity earlier, right? And we know from watching pump and style moms for decades, you
Mhm.
guys, decades, watching you guys, understanding what you like about the old pump, and it all comes down to simplicity, just keeping things very easy, minimal interaction. You just want a pump that works, right? No fuss, nothing, nothing confusing about it. So I'll hold this up to the camera a little closer again so you can get a better look. This pump, the interface or the part that you would be interacting with is just this area right here. 4 buttons. That's it. How much more simple could it be, right? So on this pump, you have the power, the on off button here. You have a plus and minus button for going up or down in your suction strength. And then you have this button here on the top, which we call the let down button. And what that button does is it switches in between the stimulation and expression phases. And you do have the option to go back and forth while you're pumping. But again, that's it. Super simple, right? So and I'll show you the setup here in a little bit, but basically when you hook this up, you push it on, you go up and vacuum to where you're comfortable, and that's kind of it. The rest of it should be on cruise control for you.
Yeah, and I think
Super
that's a
simple.
great way to put it is cruise control because there's a lot of pumps out there that require you to adjust cycle rates and vacuum levels. And it's really important that you're focusing on your baby and making sure that, you're breastfeeding and you're pumping and doing everything else you need. And we wanted to eliminate all of that unneeded stress and work.
And
Um,
really guesswork, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's not intuitive. Breastfeeding is not intuitive as much as we want it to be. It,
Mhm.
it really isn't, and it's a learning process. So by making this so simple and really building in those suction strengths and the cycle rates for you, all you have to focus on is your own comfort, which is what it should be.
So let's
Um,
talk about maximum comfort vacuum then,
yes,
as we're because a
perfect.
lot of you are probably saying, how do I know what level I'm at?
Right, and that is a very common question and a good question too.
Mhm.
So I'll start by saying that there are actually actually 10 vacuum levels on this pump. And you would be right in saying, well, I can't see what level I'm at, so how do I know? That was actually an intentional design choice. And the reason is we want to start shifting mom's perception that higher suction strength equals more milk, because that could not be further from the truth. If you want more milk, the key is being comfortable. So pumping should never be painful. Ever, ever. It should never be painful. It should be comfortable. It should feel as natural as it can, not so as much as a baby, but as natural as it can. And so at Medela, we refer to maximum comfort vacuum as if you were to go up in vacuum strength until you're just slightly uncomfortable and then you go down one level. That's your maximum comfort vacuum. So we don't want you so much focusing on what level you're at, not 1 through 10, but more about your comfort. And I think it's important to note too that your maximum comfort vacuum will change. It'll change from when you first start pumping, where you might be a little more tender, a little more swollen, so you can't actually handle a higher vacuum or suction strength. And then as you go on and you become, a power pumping mom, you might want a little more vacuum. So again, don't focus on the number, focus on your comfort.
And I think that's really important when you say, your pumping level may change, because I think a lot of moms want to know what level they're at, because they want to be able to turn the pump on, dial it up to that level, and then go from there. So we're talking about maximum comfort vacuum. There's 10 levels. And the way I explain it's not about the number on the scale. It's about how comfortable you feel in those jeans, especially as you moms are coming out of having new babies. But it starts off in stimulation and then it switches over to expression. Does it always start at the same level that you end with in stimulation as expression? I think is a common question moms have.
Yeah, so no, it does not. So the pump, when you turn the pump on, it will always start in level 4 in stimulation. And that is the reason for that is we wanted to start you at a vacuum or a suction strength that we know is effective. Again, going back to the research, that number is really coming from those researchers saying if a mom is really not wanting to interact with the pump at all, she'll still have an effective session. So it starts at level 4. If it still is a little bit too much for you, you do have the option of going down. You can also go up. So you can adjust those strengths both in stimulation and expression. When you end your session and turn the pump off, it will go back to the default settings so that you don't turn your pump back on and have a surprise of a very high vacuum strength.
So Brianna's asking 2 questions. Does the pump stop after 30 minutes? And then is it a single or double pump, which kind of feeds into ease of use and simplicity with less parts, which I think we should move into too.
Yes, great question. So the first question, does it stop after 30 minutes? Yes, it does. And that really, to be honest with you, is an improvement from this pump here. If you've ever used this pump, you may recall that this one doesn't have an auto shut off. So what we were hearing from prior users is they would actually forget to turn it off sometimes, and it would just be running in the background. So that is the reason for the 30-minute shut off. Now, if your session does take longer than 30 minutes, there's a quick solution to that. You just hit the power button and you're back in action. So that is the reason for that auto shut off time. And then is it a single or a double pump? So this is a really great question. I'm glad that you asked it. It is a double pump. However, if you're looking at this, you'll say, well, there's only one tube connection here. That's what this hole is. I'll hold it a little closer. Only one hole. Where does the other tube go? So if we go back to the idea of simplicity, we really took that idea into consideration for every aspect of this design, including the tubing assembly. So if I just show you, there's a single tube port connection on the pump, simple one-handed connection, and it's nice and snug in there too. But the way that you still can single or double pump is with this Y connector piece. So you'll see, and I apologize, it's always a little hard to show on video, but there are 2 open ends of tubing here. If you prefer to single pump, all that you do is you take one open end of tubing and you plug it into this hole on the Y connector, and now you're single pumping. So it's that simple. And again, really looking to minimize the number of parts that you need to take with you, only one tubing set instead of two, less tingly mess of the tubes, but still giving you the freedom to single or double pump, whatever you're more comfortable with doing.
So super convenient. You don't have to worry about bringing other pieces, losing another
Mhm.
piece, because parts somehow walk away sometimes.
Right. And I'd also like to point out too, there is no sacrifice on performance for single versus double pumping. You will get exactly the same vacuum, the same cycle rate. Everything will be the same whether you're single or double pumping.
Yeah. And I'm just scrolling back up because Danielle, you had a question. You ordered your pump through insurance, which is great. This pump is available through insurance, and you are right. It is the one that's just under the bag that Sarah has
Right here.
behind her. And that comes with size 24 breast shields, and it's the Personal Fit Plus breast shield. So maybe we should start talking about the breast shields because that's another piece of the technology
Mm-hmm.
that we've incorporated into this pump. And then we'll also talk about some of the accessories and other things that you should potentially register for because we have so many essential items as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about the shield first, and then we also need to talk about this amazing new connector
Mhm.
assembly. So I'll talk about the shields first. As Michelle mentioned, in the insurance version, this is the shield you will get. In the retail version, which is this one shown right here, that includes the bag and the extra goodies, you'll get the shield with this flexible rim. They both have this oval shape, you'll
Mhm.
notice. If I kind of turn it that way. And if you're familiar with
Here's the
Medela,
previous one.
the previous one, yep, I have one here too.
Mhm.
So um, if you're an experienced mom, you may be familiar with the older personal fit shields. Hopefully this looks familiar to you. You'll see that they're round and they actually have this 90-degree angle, right? Which if you think about it, whose breast anatomy is actually a 90-degree angle, right? That you're basically squishing yourself into this, right? So that's what really kicked off the research behind these new oval shields and understanding what that angle means in terms of mom's comfort and milk output. And what the researchers actually found is that this new angle, which is 105 degrees, so much greater than 90 degrees, allows the mom's tissue to sit more naturally in here so the
Mhm.
shield isn't pushing on her tissue in any way. And just by moving to these new oval shields, you get 11.8% more milk,
In
regardless
addition
of the
to the
pump.
more milk from the Max Flow technology.
Exactly. So more milk by just going to this wider angle opening. I mean that's amazing, right? And if you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But it is proven. It is was researched over actually several years for this optimal angle, and that's what we're providing you with this brand new pump. So very cool technology here. The oval shape, you may be wondering, well, which way do I have to use it? It's actually up to you. So, in the research and other mom studies, we found that some moms prefer it to be horizontal, some moms prefer it to be vertical. It really all comes down to your comfort and how you feel using the shield. There is no wrong way. You can also use it kind of on an angle like this. And what's kind of neat about that is if when you're pumping, if you have an area of your breast that feels tender or a little more full, you can actually use the shield to kind of push on that area to help relieve that tenderness and get the milk expressed from that area. So very exciting technology here. And again, combining this with this awesome pump, I mean, it's just an awesome system.
So you mentioned experienced moms who are probably familiar with our previous shield. And I do want to mention that it is important to resize yourself. And not only from using our previous shield, the Personal Fit Shield, to the Personal Fit Plus or the Personal Fit Flex, but even resizing yourself throughout your journey because your breast anatomy could change from when you're in the hospital to a month of nursing to 2 months to 3 months to 4 months. So it's always important to resize yourself, and we include a sizing guide in the pump. We have resources online because having the right shield size can really impact the performance of the pump and the output that you see.
Absolutely. And I would just stress that even further. This is so important, and it's actually more difficult than you would think. So, in actually sizing yourself properly.
Mhm.
So, if you feel
Just the
like
most
you're
patient.
struggling with this, um, reach out to your LCs, your local support groups for
Mm-hmm.
breastfeeding to get guidance. We do have the sizing card that Michelle was holding up. We have additional resources online, but it is so important. And, Michelle pointed out that your size could very likely change as you continue to breastfeed. But I also wanted to point out, it's also normal to need different size shields per
Yeah,
breast.
that's a good point.
So it's important to really understand that. And if you think you're struggling, definitely look at the size and make sure that you're getting fit properly. It's really
Yeah.
important.
And this will come with your pump, so just make sure you hold on to it. It has a great sizing guide inside, has lots of pictures. It makes it really easy for you. And again, like Sarah said, reach out to an LC or someone else if you do need some help there. Let's talk about the connectors because you mentioned that, and
Yes.
we've talked about everything in pieces, but let's see how it all connects together as well.
Yeah, so before I connect everything, let's
Mhm.
check out this new connector assembly. Okay, if you are familiar with Medela products in the past, you may be thinking, oh no, not those little white valve pieces that go down the drain. And
Mhm.
not anymore, ladies, not anymore. So, this new connector was designed again, simplicity, ease of use. So, if I open this up, you'll see this new connector is only 2 pieces. You have the connector body with the cap, which is 1 piece, and then the membrane, which is the second piece. That's it. And hopefully you're noticing, wow, these are pretty big pieces. Exactly.
Mhm.
Nothing should be going down the drain of your sink. These are all dishwasher safe. And if you notice, big, wide openings, right, for cleanability. You can easily get a bottle brush in here for cleaning, and again, just focusing on simplicity and making your lives as easy as possible, because um, pumping can be difficult and the parts shouldn't be part of that, right?
And making sure this is assembled properly is really important as well. So, Sarah, if you can actually take it apart again and
Mm-hmm.
show them how the parts line up, because we've obviously, it's less parts, right? But than we had
Mm-hmm.
before the valve and membranes connected.
Yep. So the what's important is this. If I set this down, so on our membrane, you have this little flap here, this little yellow piece. That's actually the valve, and that it needs, when you put these together, that piece needs to go towards the connector. It will only assemble in one way, so if you try to put it in
Mhm.
backwards, you will not be able to close this part of the connector. So you slide that in there. If you can see, it kind of all fits nice and snug, and then you just close the cap, and you can hear a little click. I'm not sure if you could hear that. Put it up by my microphone. But that's really it. Super simple, easy connections. I will say for cleaning, it's very important to make sure that this little
Mhm.
flap is clean. Really, if you're experiencing any kind of suction strength issues, take a look right here. Make sure that there's no milk residue or anything like that. But yes, all dishwasher safe, easy to assemble, only goes in one direction.
Yeah, so dishwasher safe is always important because it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, but there's one thing that I think we really need to mention about
That's
this
where I was
connector.
going.
Yes, so now with Pump and Style, we can officially say that Pump and Style with Max Flow is a closed system at the kit. This is so exciting, you guys. This is something moms have been asking for years, and we now are offering that to you with this amazing new product. So if you are new to the pumping world and not familiar with what the closed system terminology means, what that means is that there's actually a physical barrier. So again, this yellow membrane piece that you see in there, a physical barrier that prevents milk from entering in the system and getting into the tubing. So this piece is very important. and it just protects your pump from milk getting into the tube and down into the pump. A
Mhm.
pump is a big investment when you're pumping, right? And we don't want you to jeopardize that in any way. So definitely closed system at the kit. Very exciting improvement for the product.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to mention is, we did incorporate our new personal fit flex connector in with this pump to make sure that it was a closed system. So some of you might have previous pumps, like Pump and Style Advance, for example, and it's really important, or you receive the Symphony kits from the hospital, which include a set of shields and connectors, which are clear. And Sarah, I don't know, can you hold one up? Do you have
I
a
can, yes.
So you might have either a set of these lying around at home, or you might receive some in the hospital because you use a Symphony pump, or the nurses might give it to you, or the lactation consultants. It's very important to not use these with this pump because, again, it then you don't have that closed system that Sarah talked about, and milk could back up into your tubing, and then it would damage your pump because then liquid's going directly into the pump. And I think someone had asked, how often should I replace my tubing? Well, if you follow all the instructions, there shouldn't be any milk backup in there. But if that does happen, you contact our customer service right away, or if there's any sort of condensation in your tubing. But you should only have to replace it if you feel that there's a hole, or it's bent, or it's damaged, or one of
Mhm.
the adapters look damaged as well. But it's really important, if you get anything from this, is do not use that connector with your pump.
Absolutely. Please, please, please. If you take one thing away from our discussion today,
Mhm,
do not use this connector with this pump. Just
mhm,
just don't do that. We're offering you with this new connector,
mhm.
that closed system element, which really protects your pump, and we would hate for anything to jeopardize your pump or the suction strength that it has.
Yeah.
I did also want to mention cleaning of the tubing.
Mhm.
So because Pump and Style with Max Flow is a closed system, there should not be any milk going into the tubing. So there really is no need to clean the tubing, which might sound kind of odd, but it's only air moving back and forth in the tubing. So you should not have to clean these. All of the instructions on what parts need to be cleaned when are all included in your instruction manual for the product, just in case you forget that. But did want to mention the tubing does not have to be washed.
Yeah. And then someone asked about the sizes that are the breast shield sizes that come with the kit. So the insurance version will come with the size 24 personal fit plus shields. Yep,
Mhm.
Sarah, you're holding it up. And then the retail version, which is also offered through insurance as an upgrade for a small fee and available at different retailers, comes with the personal fit flex shields size 21 and 24. And we also sell different sizes online. So you can check our website. It will direct you to a retailer for some of those additional sizes. But we have certain sizes in the kits. And like we said, it's really important to resize yourself so you can make sure that you have the right size.
Mhm.
Um,
All right, Michelle, should we put it all together now?
mhm.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have these standard 150 milliliter bottles, which will come with your product. They are our existing bottles, so if you have some of those already at home, they do connect to the new connector. It just screws on top like this. Let me grab my shield. Simple connection, right? There we go. For the tubing connection on the kit, it's a simple one-handed connection here and intentionally designed to be out of the way. So if you need to use your arm while you're setting up to pump, the tubing actually runs down so you're not getting all tangled up in your tubing. And then if I connect, I'm going to try and do this all on camera here, one-handed connection to the pump, and that's
Yep.
it.
And then you'll have the power adapter, which goes in
Mm-hmm.
to the side as well, because you do need to be plugged into the wall. However, we do include a battery pack, which takes 8 AA batteries, and it gives you 2 hours of pumping time without sacrificing any performance. So if you're not going to be next to a power outlet, or you prefer to use that on the go while you're going to and from work, it is a great alternative to have.
It is, and if you're curious, you should get about 2 hours worth of pumping
Mhm.
time using this pack, which should be more than enough if you're out on the go for the day. And also with no sacrifice of performance. So for a minimum of 2 hours, you'll have maximum suction strength that you need.
Yeah. And Abby, I don't know, you're asking about how long does the battery last? This doesn't have an internal rechargeable battery. So I just want to make that clear. It does need to be plugged into the wall, but the battery pack that we were just talking about that takes those 8 AA batteries is included as an
Mm-hmm.
alternate power option. So that's the pump. We also have some extra goodies depending on which version of the pump you get. One of which many of you notice is the bag that's behind Sarah.
I
Uh,
have lots of these bags, girls.
I
I
know.
love this bag.
And Sarah will tell you this was a design project all on its own. We took a lot of input from moms, and we wanted to make sure that this bag didn't look like a pumping bag, like you were going to pump. It looked like something you were taking to the gym or something that you'd wear with your athleisure wear. And it has really nice fabrics and feels. If you get breast milk on it, you can easily wipe it off. So we thought about, pretty much everything as we were designing this, or as the
hmm
team was.
Yeah, and Michelle is absolutely right. This was a design project all on its own. So, keeping it sleek, kind of modern design. Again, don't want to scream breast pump bag, right? But plenty of room in here to have your pump and all of the parts that you need to go with your pump
Mhm.
while you're on the go, plus some extra room, right? You want to throw a bottle of water in there, something to read, whatever it is that you need, cleaning supplies. It all fits in here with plenty of room.
Yeah, so it even fits with your cooler bag, which comes with the cooling element. If you get this version, as well as 4 bottles, which comes with it. But again, you can put this in there. You have room for your pump and all your connectors and tubing and everything else that you need. If you need to put a
hmm
phone in there as well, it's very roomy. It holds a lot more than you actually think it will.
Yep, and it also has this adjustable strap too, which is nice for like a
Mhm.
crossbody. Because let's be honest, you never have enough hands as a new
Mhm.
mom, so being able to toss it over your shoulder or crossbody is an even added benefit there.
Yeah. So if you do get this version, it's offered at all major retailers for $199 to $249, depending on if it's on sale or not. There's always promotions going on. So check multiple retailers, you'll find a great deal. And then it's also available, like I said, through different insurance plans as an upgrade. The fee just depends on what your insurance covers.
So, one extra thing I think we forgot to
Yeah.
mention Michelle's favorite feature, the bottle stand. So, these are also included with the retail version.
Yes.
And yeah, there you go, Michelle. So we all know, or maybe not quite yet, but you can imagine if you spend all this time pumping this precious milk and then you knock the bottle over and it spills, it's heartbreaking. It's the worst feeling ever. So we wanted to include something to kind of help with that, and that's these bottle stands, which really you can see. We're holding it, moving it around. It
Mhm.
just helps prevent it from tipping over, so you don't lose any of that liquid gold.
Yeah. So I'm just digging here in my box of goodies because someone was asking about things to register for. And I
Ah.
think it's a great segue into some of our essential items because as you're registering, it's always those things that you may not think about purchasing on your own when you're getting ready for the baby to come home, or it's great things for people to add in. And we have so many extra items outside of just our breast pumps that you guys should register for. So, one, if you've already chosen your pump, it's recommended to make sure you have an extra set of parts. So, a lot of you may be working away from the home. Some are, some aren't in this crazy world, but
Mhm.
I found I had like 3 sets of extra parts because I
So did
always
I.
wanted, if not more, I wanted to make sure there was one with my pump when I was at work. I wanted to make sure there was another set for when I had to wake up and pump in the morning or at night, and I wanted a clean set for when I came home. And you
Mhm.
always want to make sure your pump parts are dry. So it's really important to make sure that you have a full set of pump parts. And when I say that, it's really, having an extra set of shields if you need to, even having the connector, making sure that you
Mhm.
have all these pieces, because sometimes they're never going to be clean and dry all at the same time. So it's always important to have that full set of spare parts so you can make sure that you're ready when you need to be. So register for spare parts. That's the first thing. Do you want to add anything to that, Sarah, for
No,
pump
I think you covered it perfectly. The only
part?
thing I would just reiterate is that absolutely true on needing dry parts. So if you try to pump with parts that are still wet from washing, you may experience low suction just because the pieces aren't fitting together exactly right.
Mhm.
So important. Have extra of these. Also, so easy to forget things when you're on the go. So if you
Mhm.
automatically have extra ones in your bag, you'll be good to go. There's nothing worse than forgetting a pump part when you're
I know.
gone from home.
Because this will not work if you're missing something.
Right.
The other thing that's always good to think about are, cleaning supplies, because it's sometimes not top of mind, especially if you're on the go. So we have the quick clean wipes, which, if we think about it right now, cleaning is so important with everything we do. And these are really great on the go to have in your bag, because they're really simple. It's almost, I don't want to say it's like a Clorox wipe because it's not made with those type of chemicals,
No.
but it's just so easy to clean your parts without having to worry about being next to a sink or something with nice soapy water.
Absolutely. And also good to note there, it is safe for contact with breast milk. So
Mhm.
you can wipe your parts down, toss them in your bag, and that's it. You don't need to rinse anything off, which is
Yeah, and then we
very
also have
handy.
the yeah, we have the quick clean spray too, which makes it really easy, as well as the quick clean breast removal soap. So,
Oh, that soap, you guys. I love that
mhm.
soap. It's very mild, but so effective at removing breast milk. I used it so much when I was breastfeeding. I love it. And it has a very nice smell to it, too.
It does, actually. Um, so those are some cleaning items, as well as our micro steam bags. So cleaning your parts, again, are so important. You want to make sure that you follow all the cleaning guidelines that we've outlined in the instructions in the quick start guide. So when you get all your parts, make sure you wash them. And it's really important to make sure that you have a separate wash basin for them. So I have like a big mixing bowl, that was specifically used for all my pump parts. They didn't go in the sink. They didn't go anywhere else in there unless they went in the dishwasher. And so I would put them in there and then wash them by hand, if not in the dishwasher, after every use. And then it's also important to make sure that you sanitize your parts once a day as well, and prior to the first use. So
Hmm.
these came in so handy for sanitizing. All you do is you're going to open them up. You put in, I think it's 2 milliliters of water.
Hmm.
So just measure it out,
Little.
pour it in, and then put all your parts in here. And this thing, you can pack this sucker pretty full, seal it up, and then there's instructions based on your microwave wattages and power. And then you put it in the microwave. When it comes out, make sure you pour out some of the hot water or let it set for a little, open it up, and then you can leave your parts out to dry. But super time saver instead of having to sit
Hmm.
and wait for water to boil. Or even you get
Absolutely.
sidetracked and you forget the water's boiling. So
Yes,
two
and I
minutes.
will add, so I see some comments going on in here that the bags and the wipes are amazing. They really are. So the
Mhm.
what I loved about the bags when I was using those, your parts come out really hot, right? Because you're steam sterilizing them,
Yeah,
which means that they dry faster.
that's a good
So they
point.
come out, they dry really quickly, and then you're on your way. And those bags are reusable. I think they have
There's like
25 uses, 20 to 25. I can't recall.
20. So it's really
Twen-
nice here too, because you can just put like an X. So yeah, you don't use this only
mhm,
once. You get
mhm,
20 uses out of it, which is really nice. And we sell these in multi packs. And again, you can buy these anywhere,
mhm.
which are really useful. And then the other thing that I didn't know when I started breastfeeding was that it could be painful a little, especially those first
Yes.
couple of weeks. And you're gonna need nipple cream. This is, the things that they don't talk to you about that you wish you knew before. So this is actually something, don't register for it, but put this in your bag. your hospital bag. And this is our new Pure Land lanolin cream. It's natural, it's safe for the baby, and it's going to be a lifesaver for you guys as you're starting out your breastfeeding journey. And you can put it on and apply it, and you can directly breastfeed your baby. You don't have to wipe it off or anything. But great product, 100% natural,
Mhm.
and it's going to be a lifesaver for when you start breastfeeding. So that's another one you should have.
Yes. That's important. And you're right, Michelle. Nobody talks about these things. I don't know why. Crack
I
nipples,
know.
let's talk about it. So, yeah, that cream, amazing, super soft, very much a
Mhm.
healing solution. And again, just to reiterate what Michelle said, totally safe for the baby to nurse if you have that on.
Yeah. So some people ask how far along should we request our insurance pump? So, depending on your insurance plan, I think you can request it within a certain time period, but they may not approve it and ship it until you're so far along before you deliver. So, it's all dependent upon your insurance plan. But we recommend, that third trimester as you're nesting and you're getting things ready, and you've done all your research and you know that you're going to breastfeed, and you're moving further and closer to having the baby. It's always important to make sure that you have everything ready. Let's see what other questions you guys
I see,
have.
I'm scrolling back through the questions because it's hard to follow. And I see Amanda. It's like learning a whole new language, so confused. Totally, totally. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you guys have questions on breast pumping, breastfeeding, anything at all, I mean, we're here right now to answer that for you. About the new product, we could direct you to information. Medela.com has so much information,
Mm-hmm.
any question you can imagine. So, we are happy to direct you to where you need to go. But definitely keep the questions coming for us today, you guys.
Yeah, and if you guys ever have questions about your pump, our customer service team is best in class. They will help you troubleshoot whatever challenges you may be having or help answer your questions if you don't know how to use your pump. They are great. And oftentimes they come to Sarah and I and ask questions as well. And so we know how much they care about you as the customer and making sure that your breast pumping is successful. So our customer service team is always there to help you guys whenever you guys might have a question.
Absolutely. They are amazing. And you can either call or do online chat, but they're
Mhm,
just amazing. Super compassionate, there to help you. We get it, right? Your
mhm,
hormones are going crazy. The last thing you want to deal with is a problem with this guy. So
mhm.
give us a call.
Yeah. So I don't see any more questions. You guys probably have been doing your research, I'm sure, and some of you were first-time moms, and you're always doing so much research, and then some of you second-time moms, you've been there, you've done that, you've got it down. But if there's any last questions, let us know. We're really excited to get this in the hands of you guys as you guys are making that decision that you want to breastfeed. It's a huge step. And it's, something that's super important as you're, in that journey with your new little one.
Absolutely. So, congratulations on making that
Hmm.
decision. Number one, super exciting. I'm trying to think of any last information we could share.
Yeah.
Just to kind of reiterate, the pump, all about performance, right? It does have 10 suction levels that you can
Hmm.
choose from. One thing I think I didn't mention before is that this pump, if you are a max vacuum pumper, you're a mom that really likes to go up in her suction strength, this pump does actually perform at a higher suction strength than the pump and style advance. So that was another thing we heard from previous pump and style moms, and so we gave you a little more juice here.
Yeah. But again, remember, it's about being comfortable. So you don't always have to crank
Mhm.
it up. You don't want the pump tugging too much to where it's uncomfortable. Because then that could be a little counterproductive. I always thought with mine, I just cranked it up and thought more power meant more milk, but I was probably approaching it all
You know
wrong.
what? I thought that too. And actually, I don't think we said Michelle and I were actually both pump and style advanced moms
Hmm.
before we were Medela employees. So we were Medela moms before we were Medela moms.
Uh-huh.
And with my first daughter, absolutely, that's what I thought too. I'll just crank it up, I'll just tolerate it. that could not be further from the truth. You need to be comfortable. The more
Mhm.
comfortable you are, the more milk you will get out.
Yeah. And Nixie, I hope I pronounced it right, about joining the mom's room. Great advice. We have a great program called the Mom's Room, which we kind of guide you through your journey as you're going through this prenatal and postnatal. We offer a lot of different resources for you guys as well. So when I have a pump and style from my son 5 years ago, is it okay to reuse that one, or should I look into purchasing a new one?
Did you want me to take that question? I
What?
can.
Yeah, you can.
So, I will say it kind of depends on how much you
Mhm.
use the pump. So these are considered personal use pumps, but not for exclusive pumping. So the actual lifetime of this is 250 hours, which comes down to 3 15-minute sessions per day. So if you think you might have used it a little more than that, very likely if you went over a year of pumping, then you may want to consider getting a new pump at this point. Also, 5 years, kind of a long time to be sitting in a closet. I know I had that situation
Mm.
too. So, reach out to your insurance. You can
Mhm.
absolutely get this through insurance. And, I mean, it's a great pump, right?
Well, I was gonna
Fancy
say,
new
if you can
thing.
get a new one, you might as well. And Emily,
Right,
since you're just
exactly.
tuning in, if you do get the new Pump and Style, you do have old parts from your Pump and Style Advance, which are not compatible with this pump. So please only
This,
use these parts with your pump. So this connector specifically, the one that Sarah's holding, will cause milk backup into the pump. So if you get the new pump, throw everything else away so it doesn't cause any confusion and only use the parts
mhm,
that come with the pump. But I mean, I'd recommend getting a new one. To Sarah's point, you want top performance as you're starting over from 5 years ago.
mhm.
And there's a lot of new technology packed in this pump. You might have missed it earlier, but you can go to our website and hear more about it. And I know they record these sessions and they're available on YouTube later. So you can always take a look at it.
Absolutely. And I think probably, I mean, this is a totally different technology. Everything about this pump is different
Mhm.
from the Pump and Style Advanced. But what makes this so cool and unique is the max flow technology. So
Mhm.
definitely go back and listen to our spiel before, but I'll tell you real quick, max flow. And when we say max flow, what we're referring to are these micro vibrations that the motor is actually applying to the breast as it's pulling vacuum. Moms that have used this describe it kind of as if it's a massaging feel. And what we've learned from research and understanding this vibration technology is it's resulting in more milk. More milk than we've ever seen before, more comfort, which ultimately means shorter pumping time. So, really cool technology. Definitely consider this if you're in the market for a new pump.
Yeah, and this one's called Pump and Style with Max Flow. So if you go to our website, it's right there up on top when you're looking at breast pumps. And I mean, it's hard to miss when you're looking at kind of this little black brick that you're used to, and this nice little 1.18 pounds that fits nicely in the palm of
Hmm.
your hands. And Elizabeth, yes, I think things have changed drastically
A
in
little bit.
11 years from your first one, or maybe second to this last one. So you guys have all been great. I think we're coming up to our time. Again, stop by our booth. We have someone there answering questions, and we congratulate you all and hope you have a successful breastfeeding and breast pumping journey. And we hope that you found the information valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations, mamas.
Bye.
Bye.